Well, hello. We are in our newly finished kitchen. It's taken a very long time, a lot of delays, and we're going to celebrate with making some cupcakes for our friend Tom. We want to show you what it took to get it from where we're at now, a finished kitchen, from where we started.
Won't you come with us as we show you all of our new things that we've been doing here in Rittergut?
From the biggest mess to the finished project and everything in between.
Okay, hold the bowl steady. Here we go.
Welcome to Tripping Over 60.
We're Jim and Linda Ryan, a couple of baby boomers who've caught the travel bug.
Come with us on our adventure
As we move to Wilhelmshaven, Germany to begin a new life and a new dream.
This room will be our kitchen. It reminds me of a scene from the movie Under the Tuscan Sun where the realtor tells Francis, "Let the house talk to you, take your time." And that's what we're doing here. This house is still telling us stories of how it used to be and what it looked like. This is going to be a lot of fun when it's done.
The electrical has already been put in. However, part of the contract that we signed was that the electrical would be put in, but that we would finish putting in the plaster. As you can see, there are trenches that have actually been gouged out of these plaster walls. Wiring has been placed in them, and then just small amounts of plaster have been daubed in along the way in order to hold them in place. Finished plastering got done around the actual outlets, but now it's Jim's task to go around and finish off all of this plastering. We're finally down to actually looking at little color swatches for what we're proposing in here. We're thinking kind of a sunflower palette. There's Jim over here working away.
Nice, as you can see, we're still experimenting with little color swatches. We think the kitchen is going to be quite cheerful and very nice when we're done with it. Piece of the original molding, we were just going to dismiss it until we discovered that this was very fancy trim up here in the ceiling. So rather than eliminating it, we will reconstruct it back to the way it was in 1900.
Today we're going to be working on the ceiling here in the kitchen some more and putting up little bits of masking tape to mark the path of this molding that we've discovered. Tom, what are you going to be doing today?
I'm scraping up the wallpaper.
Good, good. Okay, we have a full day ahead of us. Well, here we are. It's late afternoon. We've been working most of the day here in the kitchen, trying to do more with this border that we have uncovered.
From the earlier episodes, you saw when we discovered the one piece of original molding from 1900 still up here. That's this piece right here. Since then, we've done repairs to the walls, painted the ceilings, did the trim work, and now we're back working on the molding here. Linda and Tom carefully laid all this out in the blue tape so you can see what the original pattern was. Now, I'm coming along, scribing in where the molding will actually go with this little block, and then taking the tape down so that I've got my pattern. It's time consuming, a little hard on the back, but it's very necessary to make it look right.
I finished doing all of the kerf cutting on the bandsaw, and now they're ready for installation on the ceiling. After the kerf cuts, the wood becomes very flexible, and once it's up on the ceiling, should be able to very easily follow the pattern we've laid out.
Okay, we have the last of the 4 tight radiuses here. We've done the kerf cut. I don't know if you can see it. We've put the glue on the back of it. I will get it lined up. I have pre-cut it, and we are going to bend it and put it into place. Okay.
There you go.
What I'm doing now is I'm grinding the tips of the brads off that didn't go deep enough, because when you paint, you don't want big drips of paint drying on the brads.
Small additional trim pieces completed the molding. Kerf cut lines were filled and sanded. And finally, the contrasting coat of paint was added.
We had to make repairs to the old chimney where the wall had met. Then we had to frame in the chimney to conceal the electrical lines, water lines, and waste lines for the second floor. Then to sheetrock, sand, and paint. What I'm doing here is I'm putting in a filler that I use in the channels. It dries in about 3 hours, and it dries very hard. This will give some stability under the ends of these boards. Then what I'm doing is I'm taking and putting a small layer of filler here, like this, that I'll spread out. These spacer boards will rest on it, and I will adjust them to the lowest point, because the edges have cupped a little bit and I still have to level them out. And I will power nail a couple of nails into the ends, and that'll give it a hard base to sit on, and it'll keep it stable and nothing should move, and it'll keep the oak flooring very stable. Just like in the master bedroom, the edges of the boards have cupped a little bit, so I'm taking the high spot off so that I get the floor as smooth as possible when I lay the oak. And it's just one more step that needs to be done to get a nice solid floor. What I'm doing now is I'm putting down the felt paper. It has two purposes. It acts as a vapor barrier to help cut down on expansion and contraction of the floor when I put it down. And it also stops squeaks because it cushions the two pieces of wood. What I do to make sure it's perfectly flat is tapping down with a hammer, just in case. I don't want any rise in there. This is my first starter piece. I use short pieces along here to get a nice straight edge, and just to be on the safe side, I like to use my great big long straight edge on here to get it lined up. That's so everything fits as you continue on down. Right here in front of the door, I've had to use a longer piece because I didn't want to split it. And this slight mismatch right here, I will cut a tapered piece about 1.5 inches so you don't catch your toe on it. You can't take this piece out of the door frame. It's all built in together and it would just cause a gigantic mess. So I'm setting the first row, top nailing in here. This will get covered up. Then I come along and I nail right into the tongue to secure it on both sides and keep right on going. The next thing I will do is I will go back down here to this end, and this is where you end up with a floor with no waste. Instead of cutting that and changing it and throwing it away, I reverse it. I'll mark it, put the small piece in, the next piece becomes my starter piece. Down at the other end, no waste once again. hang the last light fixture over the island, build the island, and then cut the door off so it will clear. I need to take a quarter of an inch off of that door. And after the island is all built, bring in the plumber and the electrician to hook it all up. If I was in the States, I would do my own plumbing. But over here they use special fittings and special tools to do it, so it's just easier.
Did you bring the inspector in?
There's the inspector. This is Fritz.
Fritz the inspector. He always shows up when the work's done.
Yeah, typical lazy guy, huh?
Yeah, good job, Jim.
I always talk about zero waste. We had a tiny bit of waste this time. Because of the cutout around the chimney, I had this piece of waste. And because this was a broken board and can't be used, I just chopped it up. I had that piece of waste. Because we needed ample spacing along it, I had to take off about 3/8 of an inch off of the last row. This is waste. This is my last cut. It is not waste. It becomes my starter piece for my next floor. It will be saved.
Do we know what floor that'll be?
Maybe the guest bedroom. And of course,
oh yes,
the famous pile of sawdust.
If I only had a recipe, I could do something with that.
Yeah.
It's on the cookie sheet and ready to go.
Yeah.
Two of the light fixtures in the kitchen we bought here in Germany. The large one over the kitchen sink came with us from America. The kitchen cabinets were part of our daughter's home, and we brought them with us, and they worked out very nicely. The range hood also had to be installed at the same time that the cabinets all went in. We're pretty pleased with how it all worked out.
I brought 2 sets of kitchen cupboards over with us when we came. The nice one behind us came from our daughter and son-in-law when they redid their kitchen. The other one, which is of a lesser quality, came from a friend of ours when he remodeled a kitchen in one of his houses. So, not wanting to see things go to waste, I salvaged those. There were 15 component pieces to it. What I've done is I've taken 5 of those components, reworked them, reconfigured them, and this is what we're going to use for our island. Now, this piece of plywood we cut down, and this will be our pattern for the granite top of the island. On this side, I used a side cabinet and a sink cabinet and a panel off of another side. If you come over, you can kind of see this here and this one over here. These are 2 overhead cabinets that I've turned on end, raised them up, changed the locations of the doors. This will now be a little storage area for our bottles of wine. On the other side, I've done the same. I'm getting ready to raise it up. Put a panel on here, a door in the front. It'll create a tall cupboard for cookie sheets and large items like that. So we decided in the meantime to go ahead and paint the cabinets yellow, the same color as the wall. So we think it's going to look real nice. We're going to get some type of a brown multicolor piece of granite that'll cover this whole area. The sink with the stainless steel will go right here, center over the light, and that'll give us a lot of room over here. We are going to put 2 electrical outlets on the side for little things like maybe a blender for margaritas and things like that.
This is going to be the dishwasher here,
yes,
right?
That opening is for the dishwasher on the side. What I'm doing now, I'm putting the siding on. It's going to look real nice. It's going to have sort of a 3-dimensional, old-fashioned look after all the house is 112 years old. What I did is I took the splash boards and I cut a notch in them, put them on first rather than last, which is the normal procedure. Then I took these pieces, cut them to length, put a notch on here. This will slip down inside of here, and it goes in like that, and you tap it into place. Like that, and that's all there is to that. Now to keep it up here about every third board, I'll go ahead and put a small nail in. It'll be covered by the quarter rounds which go underneath here and butt up against the finished product. And that gives everything a little bit of a chance to expand and contract in the kitchen where there's cooking and heat and humidity and things like that. Should prevent any warping or buckling or anything like that in the future. We're getting there. It's taking a little bit of time. And as you can see, when it comes to construction material and wood, there's very little waste around this place. I try to reuse everything. I try to recycle, reconfigure, take things apart, rebuild them.
Is that what's going to happen to me when I go?
We could mummify you.
Oh.
Ooh, reconfigured.
Thinner, taller.
Ah. And because the island is in the center of the room and the plumbing was not, what I had to do was create some place to run all of the plumbing. So this is what I came up with. This panel comes out. There is the hot water boiler, all of the electrical, all of the plumbing, all of the waste lines. Everything is in here, easy to get to for repairs, for those who have had to lay under a kitchen sink with their back being killed by the bars and stuff. We put electricity in each of the sides to get to that. I have an access panel here. It's held in place with the cabinet magnetic latches. Makes it very nice.
Well, the day is here. Our granite has arrived. Of course, it's snowing. Lutz is here to help. We're really hoping that this big piece will just go into the house ever so easily. 2.5 weeks earlier, we had gone down to the marble and granite yard and picked out this piece. It took them a while to make the cut for the sink. Lutz had gone ahead and done the measurement. We all held our breath hoping that it would be just exactly the way we wanted it.
It fits and we didn't break it.
Yay!
Weights were placed in the sink to make it all sit perfectly flat on the granite. The workman set the mastic and sealers on all of the pieces. The workman placed the bonding agent onto the sink, and when it dries, we are finished.
Here we are down here in the basement. This new white line, what couples up there, is what we've just had them install. And it just kind of meanders through. And here they are putting the last pieces in. So this will be the final connection. And I think we're going to have water.
No car, no problem.
We brought the sink home on the train. We're here in the kitchen, and our friendly plumber is working. Is working so hard. We had to replace the water line to the kitchen because it was full of dirt from years of it. So today they ran the new line, and he has said warm water and cold water by the time they leave. So we're really hoping it'll happen.
Hope you enjoyed watching the kitchen evolve to the finished product. Join us again as we do more house restorations and more travel adventures.
Until then, I'm Linda.
I'm Jim.
And we're tripping over 60.